What's good, everyone? This is a special episode of Docs Outside the Box. I'm your host, Dr. Nee. I am joined by
Dr. Renee.
Remember, guys, this is a show where we are fusing money, medicine, and pop culture. Hey, this is our 300th episode. Christian, put in some air horns. Alfred, do your thing. I trust you guys. Make it sound really special, but this is a special episode. This is 300, and we are here. Actually, I was not going to make this a solo episode where it was just me and you. I was just going to keep recording, and then
But your business
on future episodes,
manager.
just say, hey, we hit 300. Go check it out and what have you. But
Your business
I listened
manager
to your advice.
made it happen. 300. This is Sparta!
So hopefully you guys see what I got to deal with on a daily basis. But yeah, she's a little bit over the top. But yeah, so 300, she was pushing me to record and do something nice for episode 300. And actually, as a result, like I have nothing planned for this episode. This is just, if you are listening to this episode and you're looking for something wise, something special, if you're looking to learn something new, then you may want to turn to something else.
You will not get that here.
Skip that episode. We are just vibing on this episode. We are just having fun. We are just smelling the roses and going from there. So.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let you lead this episode mainly because I didn't prepare for this episode at all.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know why you're scrolling through the website for it.
I'm in charge. Do you feel in charge?
I'm always in charge, but yeah.
Do you feel in charge? I will be the bane of your existence. Get it? Bane? Okay, whatever. Anyway, first of all, I want to say a huge congratulations to you.
Thank you very much.
For hitting 300 episodes. I'm so very proud of you that you stuck with this podcast, for this long. How long has it been? It's going on...
We're on 7 years now.
Yeah 7 years.
Wait.
We're going on 7 years.
We're going on 7 years, yeah, correct.
Yeah, going on 7 years, right? Is it? Yeah, it's going on 7 years.
Yeah, so next April will be 7.
Yeah, will be 7 years. So congratulations for that.
Thank you very much.
Yep, and it seems, as though you still enjoy doing it.
I love doing it. I love it. Although it's more of a headache now because it feels like the stakes are higher because people listen and you just feel you don't want to disappoint people. It's extremely, extremely fun to do. And I really enjoy it. And the times where I get really frustrated with it, where I'm like, blah, blah, blah. It really is, I don't know, I just really enjoy just turning on the mics, turning on the cameras, turning on the lights, and just recording and seeing what people think about it.
Yeah.
And, is it going to resonate with people, and then people writing in and stuff. And I love it. I really like the community that we've built. Mm-hmm. I think that is really great. Slowly but surely we're getting there. And I'm really excited.
I'm excited for you because I know that when you first started the podcast
out in Central PA, Central PA.
Yep, you were in Central PA.
Remember how long it took me to even record something or to even think that I was going to start a podcast?
Yeah. So what made you pull that trigger? Because you had been talking about starting the podcast for a while, like literally almost 2 years. Because we were listening to a lot of different podcasts, right? We were listening to a lot of different podcasts because we were in the middle of our debt payoff for student loans. And you had talked about it and talked about it and talked about it. And then you finally just one day just recorded.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
So I think it came from, just seeing some of our friends, the people that we knew since med school, they started to be really successful. Mm-hmm. And I think that the way in which they were successful were ways in which that I was like, oh, I really respect that you're able to create something, like you're creating a program or you're getting people to invest in your program. And this has nothing to do with what you really learned specifically in med school.
Right.
And then the same thing happened on locums. There were people who were doing things that I was just like, how do you learn that? How do you know how to do that? And I always knew that I wanted to record it in some form or fashion. Mm-hmm. And what people don't know is just prior to starting the podcast for Tour for Diversity, that's an organization, a nonprofit organization that's slowly but surely taking a grassroots effort trying to increase the amount of minorities who are in medical school, as well as dental school and podiatry school, pharmacy. All of these different things is dope. Check them out at tourfordiversity.org. I was there. I was writing their blog, and I created a section called My Path, which was where I would just interview anybody who's an advisor. So we would have just different residents, different medical students, different doctors who would be advisors on the Tour for Diversity, and I would just interview
mentors,
them. Yeah, the mentors, and I would just put that stuff on the blog. So I was kind of doing basically a blog version of the podcast.
Right.
I was doing a blog version of the podcast, and then, after about 2 years, I was like, you know what? I think we've kind of hit the wall with this. It's time for me to do something else. And that's when we were paying off debt and doing some other things. And I was like, what if we turned My Path into a podcast? And I don't know, just decided to do it and recorded the first episode.
All right, everyone. Welcome to my new podcast. It's called Docs Outside the Box, and this is my first podcast, my first ever podcast, and I'm really excited about it, okay? Real talk, it's my hope to bring you interviews with up-and-coming, exciting, dynamic, creative docs who are literally thriving off the beaten path. All right, these interviews that you're going to hear, these discussions, they should inspire you to do what you always wanted to do, but either talk yourself out of it, your schedule gets in the way, you got too many patients one day, or look, life just got in the way. All right. So look, ultimately this podcast is for you. All right, listeners.
You gave me the idea of Carmen Brown.
Yeah.
You gave me the idea of Carmen Brown, but I still needed an intro episode.
Right. And so speaking of that first episode, right? That first episode.
As a matter of fact, why don't we I'm going to do this while we are getting ready to go. So
how did you leave that? I'm running the episode. Dang. Put it down. I'm running the
I'm
episode.
thirsty, man. Come on.
Champagne does not quench thirst.
Go ahead. Okay? I'm listening to you.
So that first episode, I told you.
Oh, real quick. Shout out to everybody who's watching on YouTube, because y'all seen something different. Y'all can see me opening up this champagne. If you're just listening to the podcast.
You might hear a pop.
And you might hear me opening stuff, but
you might hear me get shot in the eye with a cork.
Out. Go ahead, keep asking your questions.
But yeah, no, that first episode with that you recorded, remember we went back and forth as to whether or not you should just make it a solo episode. And you were like, no, I need a guest. And I was like, why? Why do you need a guest?
Yeah, I was being a real you-know-what.
Yeah. You kind of were. But
y'all hear this, guys? Y'all hear this?
But what was it? Like, why did you feel like you needed to have a guest?
I just didn't trust my voice. That's what it was. I didn't trust my voice. I didn't think I was that interesting. I wasn't very confident that I could carry a show. So at the time, all the podcasts that I was listening to were interview-based podcasts. They were very rare. Like, I can't recall how many of the podcasts that we were listening to. I'm just making sure our volume is okay. I can't remember how many podcasts that I was listening to that were just solo for the most part. I know Farnoosh I was listening to every now and then she would do a solo episode. His and Her Money, they were a couple. Stacking Benjamins, obviously, that was a duo, sometimes even a trio. I mean, outside of Dave Ramsey that we were listening to, that we don't listen to anymore, but outside of Dave Ramsey, even that, he would have guests on the show. Or he'd have
segments of him talking solo, and then
or he's reading stuff from his fans. Right. But the majority of things that I was listening to, there was a guest. So I just had it in my mind that if I'm going to start out a show, that I don't know, I might as well just have guests on there. So, but ultimately it came down to I didn't trust my voice, and I didn't think I was interesting enough that people would want to pay attention. So
yeah. So how's that changed over 6 years now? Has it changed?
It's changed. Like, we have less guests on the show. I'm seeking out less guests. Like before, it always had to be like, let's get this great guest on the show. And then after a while, I think year 3, year 4, year 5, I started thinking, I was like, why are we having all of these guests on the show to say what I already think about anyway? Right? And I don't know if anybody can tell, but basically, like when we have a guest on the show and you have someone who's high profile, you're looking for I'm looking for the bump in downloads. Like people will be like, oh snap, like that person's on the show, let me take a listen.
Right.
And then you're hoping that they share it with their social network so that you get a huge bump. But a lot of times these guests, they're really busy. They don't have time to share it in their social network. So, you're hoping that people who are scrolling through on their phones are able to look at it and say, hey, this person has this high profile guest on the show. I'm going to listen to this. And that's really the main bump that you get. And that's it.
Right.
So we weren't really seeing that when we would have people come on the show. So after a while, it's just like, well, I'm really starting to think that the show is about people who want to tune in and think about or listen to how I think or how we think.
Was that when you started to see certain bumps?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's when we started seeing certain bumps, was when I started adding my own thoughts and you started coming on and adding your own thoughts. And that's when the show really started to take off. When I was just interviewing people and just having some very ho-hum interviews, that's when I was like, what are we doing here? I'm not going to say which episodes were, but there were some episodes where I was just like, you could tell the energy wasn't there because I just really wasn't feeling it.
Right.
And I was like, this person is doing really well. They're doing something that, maybe I aspire to get to, but on the show, they sound like horrible.
Right.
And that's when I just said, F this, like, we have to do our own thing and just record. So that's why, I'm pretty psyched that, like, after a while, it's just like, okay, we can have guests on the show, and it's great to have guests on the show, but I'm going to sprinkle them in. Most of it's going to be what I think, what you think, and then we'll go from there. That's it.
I hope none of these guests are listening to the show going, was I the one that was horrible?
To all the guests who've been on my show, I really appreciate each and every one of you who've come on the show. There have been some episodes, some guests that we haven't put out there, mainly because I re-listened to the show and the energy wasn't there, whether it was from me or whether it was from them.
Okay, gotcha. So those aren't the ones that you necessarily published.
Right.
Yeah.
But that just because I published it doesn't mean that it's their fault. Like it more than likely it's my fault. The questions weren't right, or it just wasn't the right feel. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it wasn't. The things that they're talking about is not the right fit. It wasn't initially what I thought was going to work for the show. And we make those mistakes.
So you become more selective.
Yes.
Over the process, and yet people are still writing in to be on the show. Relax.
Oh, this is about to come out.
Why would you do that? Stop fidgeting. Guys, you're so fidgety. You are so fidgety. You know that thing is going to pop.
It's coming out right now.
Okay, but now you got to pop the champagne.
Is it going to come out?
Listen, I'm not going to take any chances and get shot in the eye. Okay?
Y'all ready?
Oh, Lord. Go ahead. You keep fidgeting. Just pop it. Oh.
There you go.
Hey.
I don't know what you're talking about fidgeting.
You're fidgeting. You have moved around. If y'all are watching on YouTube.
You want to get your flute?
You definitely are fidgeting. Okay? First of all, before we get the flute, I want to show the audience what you originally came down here with for us to celebrate your 300th anniversary, or your 300th episode. This is what he came out here with, y'all. Red Solo cups.
What's the problem?
They're not sponsoring the show.
I don't know if they can hear you that well.
Red Solo cups. They're not sponsoring the show.
Well, Red Solo cup. We popped the trunk, guys. We popped the trunk. I mean, I don't see what's the big deal.
Listen.
Some people never forget their roots.
Roots? This is from college, okay?
That's my roots.
This is college. Like, get sophisticated, okay? So I had to veto that and basically get the champagne flutes, stemless champagne flutes.
Okay,
but we will pour.
I'm gonna start pouring. So I don't know why you're stalling.
I'm not stalling, but you did mess up my vibe because you said I'm running this show, yet you're doing things to disrupt that. That's enough, please. Thank you. Well, we might as well do the toast now then. Since we poured the champagne so early in the morning, 5 o'clock somewhere. Here is Tani, and the Docs Outside the Box podcast started in 2016. Now we're in 2020. Oh my gosh. Oh, sorry. 2022. Good Lord. That's what I meant to say. But I'm very proud of you. I want to congratulate you on sticking it through. You are definitely somebody who, when he knows what he wants, he goes after it. And this was something that you really wanted, and you made it very, very successful. I want to thank all of your listeners, because this would not be possible without all of you guys. Thank you all so much for writing in, for the 5-star reviews, for the text messages, and just all of your comments on social media. That's what helps the show to grow. And we're looking forward to another 300 episodes.
Yeah.
Clink.
Clink.
And drink. I said toast, mother.
Toast.
So won't you raise your glass, won't you?
Hey, so if you're a listener and you know what I listen to, who knows what that came from?
Yeah, that reference.
Text us and
I
let us know.
said toast, mother.
You can say it.
I don't
Okay.
curse on the show. My parents are listening.
All right, guys. This was Asti Spumante. As you can see, we haven't grown from our left rack city
Martini and Rossi, Asti Spumante.
and East New York roots right there.
Yep.
I was at the liquor store. I was looking. I was like, man, what kind of things can we afford? And I was looking at the top shelf. I was like, yeah, no.
You
The
know,
second shelf. So I went to the third shelf all the way to the bottom, and I saw Asti Spumante. I was like, boom, right there.
Right there.
Right there.
We were talking a little bit about before your first episode, why you felt that you needed a guest on that. So it sounds like you've basically found your voice at this point. Yes?
I'm still finding my voice. I think I'm still getting to the point. Like, come on, like this. We don't. This is a process, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how I feel. I feel like this is a process. I feel like I'm getting used to just speaking and doing the research and letting people know my opinion on certain things. I think that's the whole point of the show now. I think before it was, let me find a guest who supports my opinion or may even differ from my opinion, but can teach the audience X, Y, and Z. Now it's, let me do the work to teach the audience X, Y, and Z. I may have a differing opinion than the audience. I may have the same opinion as the audience, but now I'm like, okay, well, look, this is my thoughts and that's it. And I think that's the whole point of a podcast. I think that's the whole point of a blog, is for you to tune in and to get their thoughts. But I think it gets boring when the guest constantly, or when the host constantly has a guest coming on the show. Like there's some shows right now that I listen to, and you have to, the one thing that I think the audience doesn't know, or they may know, is that like a lot of these guests who are high profile, a lot of times they do like the podcast circuit, they do the YouTube circuit when they know something is coming out. Mm-hmm. So as a result, when they go, it's just like TV, right? Like when an actor or an actress comes on a TV show, Letterman, they go on whatever it may be, it's because they have something coming out.
Right.
And as a result, it's the same generic questions. It's the same, they're going to say the same thing over and over and over again.
Right, right.
So a lot of times when people are writing to us to come on the show, it's because of a couple of things. One is we're consistently in the top 100 for careers.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
That's the reason why. So their PR people are scouring the lists, and they're saying, okay, well, who's a health related podcast that's in the top 100? Boom. And then they send these generic emails out, and a lot of times I'm just like, no.
Yeah, you can tell it's generic. You can tell.
No, because they want to come on the show and talk about a topic that we don't talk about. Do you want to have the top anti-aging expert come on the show? It's like, hell no. Like, you obviously don't know what the hell this show's about.
You don't want the top.
No, I don't want the top aging expert on the damn show. No.
You don't want the newest and latest in matcha drinks.
No. Sometimes they'll have people come on the show. Oh, this person discovered this treatment for
you don't want the newest hydrogen treatment.
Hell no.
We get so many of those.
Yeah, so you just ignore it and just move on. So now, I'm just at a point where, I feel a little bit more confident about letting people know what I think about things, and I think it's important. So real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Jamar. Mm-hmm. So Jamar wrote to us. He sent us a text message where he gave us the tips, or gave me a tip on how to properly copy and paste.
On your new Mac. Is that it?
Yeah, so for a MacBook, so the issue, now actually not copy and paste, it's delete. So everybody knows like the delete and backspace key on a PC, you don't have that on a Mac, right? So if you are on a Mac and you hit, what do you have? Delete.
You hit delete.
So let's say you have a word and your cursor is right in front of it, right? If you hit delete, it's going to delete the first or that last letter
it'll go
there.
back.
It'll go back. But in PC, there's backspace. It deletes the word or deletes the letter that's in front of the cursor, right? Or
no. If it's backspace, it deletes the word behind the cursor. If it's delete, then it deletes the word in. Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah. Either way, it's different.
Right.
Jamar knew what I was talking about, so he gave me the tip. It's for Mac OS to delete. It's the Windows and backspace key. Sorry, for Mac to delete. It's
What is it?
Mac OS is delete, and Windows it's backspace. In Mac OS, it's function and delete. In Windows, it's delete. Okay, I see what you're saying. So for the backspace key works like the delete key on a Mac OS. If you want to do what a Windows button does on delete, right, which is different than backspace, you're going to hit function and delete. And he's absolutely right. If you hit function and
There
delete.
it is. I'm doing it right now on my Mac.
So Jamar, thank you. Yeah, that's dope. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm doing it right now on my Mac. Okay, that works.
So every time I used the MacBook in the past when I was using yours for a little bit, I always was craving to go back to my computer. This is the first time that I have not been like, I don't want to go back to my computer. So I'm studying for boards, and I now use that Dell XPS 13 to watch the videos.
And you love it.
What?
You love it.
Love what?
The Mac.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's all right.
You love it.
It's good. It's good. It's fast.
You love it.
Just rendering Zoom calls or rendering anything related with the podcast it's so quick. That M1 chip is so fast. It's so efficient. The only thing comparable, I think, is the AMD chips. This is when I nerd out. And
okay, that's enough nerding out because I'm running this episode and you are still very fidgety. Now you're being fidgety with taking over the episode.
Oh, wait, hold on. We got to shout out.
You are going to relinquish control.
Hold on. We still got to shout out Dr. Hold on.
Dr. who? Do you know who?
Dr. Annie. We got to give a shout out to Dr. Annie. So Dr. Annie wrote to us and she said, "Hi, Dr. Nia and Dr. Renee. I love the show that dropped today."
Yay. What show was
this
that?
this was the episode of PA versus...
Oh, yes. Versus becoming a doctor.
Yes. And I listened and thought it was great and you kept a smile on my face on my walk. I've mentioned to you before that I'm both an MP and got my MD in 2020 and is now PGY3 in EM.
Mm-hmm. So she went from nurse practitioner to physician.
And she says, "For the record, I don't wear scrubs and khakis, but I don't deny that's a possibility for my people." You see what I'm saying? It's just the truth. And that's why I love this show. It's like, you got to speak the truth. Right? Y'all know these ER docs be rocking these damn
Alfred,
be rocking these scrubs on top and khakis on the bottom, man.
Alfred, run that footage from me wearing scrubs on the top and khakis on the bottom, please.
Just want to say, people who are watching on YouTube, you can see I'm rocking scrubs on the top, and then I got pants on the bottom. Which specialty do I remind you of?
I don't know.
ER. Right? It's just like,
Top on
you
the
ever
top,
see ER doctors?
khakis on the bottom.
ER doctors notorious. Like, why do y'all be rocking scrubs and then you'll wear jeans or you'll wear scrubs on the bottom? It's like, look, you coming to work or what?
Scrubs
I can't
and
take you
khakis.
seriously. Like, they got the nerve to have a nerve to do a thoracotomy. Like, you ain't doing thoracotomy in just a top scrubs. Like,
Apparently
you
they
You
are.
gotta wear the whole scrubs if you're gonna do something like that. Putting in chest tubes with just a scrub top. No.
No, with khakis. That's what kills in khakis. The jeans are okay. The khakis, yeah, that's a bold move right there.
Yeah, the bottom scrubs are in the machine, so I was like, it's not me. Y'all need to talk to your folks. So It says, for the record, okay, we got that part. I felt like you hit a few points in your discussion on the NP versus PA life. I think they meant PA versus physician life. Oh, NP.
MD.
No, she right. Discussion on the NP/PA life versus MD.
Yeah.
But felt like you missed what I feel are the most important points, which are the foundational differences in training and the corresponding differences in jobs, leadership, growth, and pay. This is the heart of the discussion, in my opinion. Would love to hear it teased out in a more nuanced discussion, as I think it's a real area of interest and a way to increase and facilitate discussion in students, residents, and attendings. Dr. Annie, thank you very much for sending that. We appreciate that. We appreciate that thought process, and in a future episode we'll tease that out.
Yeah,
because I think it does make sense, because there is some foundational differences between how physician assistants are trained versus how medical students are trained. Mm-hmm. The whole point of that conversation was just to say, from a 30,000 foot view, man, if you want to be a PA, then be a PA. If you want to be a doctor, then be a doctor.
Right.
And just do whatever you need to do to make sure you know that you want to do one or the other, and then go that route. Right. That's all we were trying to do. But yeah, we can do a more nuanced conversation. If there's any physician assistants who are listening and they want to be a part of this conversation, shout us out. Text us or email us.
Numbers right here.
Numbers right there.
Yep.
Email us at drnee@drneedarko.com, or whatever you want to do.
The show notes for the number.
Exactly.
So let's get into a few more things about the show.
She's trying to be the host and stuff.
I am the host.
She don't know how hard it is. I hope you know how hard it is. It's about controlling your guest.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, anyway, don't get run up on your 300th episode.
Okay.
So listen. So first of all, let's get into sponsors.
Yeah.
Right? So do you remember when you had your first sponsor, or who your first sponsor was?
Yes.
Who was that?
First sponsor was Set for Life.
Set for Life.
Yeah.
Set for Life Insurance.
Shout out to Set for Life. Yo.
Set for Life.
Yeah. And they were great because, they hit us at the right time. Mm-hmm. Like, we were expanding. That's at the time when I said, you know what, I'm going to start putting out more episodes. And also at the same time, we were changing our disability insurance.
Right.
So Set for Life Insurance helped us switch from at least for me, they helped us switch from, I was on Emeritus, I think, and it was a little too expensive, right? And that was one that our previous financial advisor, not our current financial advisor, the previous financial advisor that we fired, got us on Emeritus, and for me it was a little bit expensive.
Right.
So then Set for Life helped us find Principal, and it was for me actually $100, greater than $100 per month difference, and I was like, I'm out.
No brainer.
Yeah, I'm out.
No brainer. But since then, you've gained quite a number of sponsors.
Yes.
Yeah. And it seems like, with the sponsorship, that the show continues to grow. Like, is that, in other words, is that something that you think will make the show not just grow to what it is now, but like potentially looking at the scope of the show in, let's say, the next 3 years? Like, what are you aspiring to?
What I'm aspiring to is a show that people will tune into to listen to what we think about just pop culture, what we think about money.
But I mean, specifically, yeah.
I know, but from our point of view.
Okay, gotcha.
I'd have to say my goal is to try to get to 3 times a week basis.
Okay.
So whatever is going on in the world, you're getting an opinion from us in a very nuanced, fun, substantive way, so that when whatever goes on in the world, you're like, I wonder what Nee and Renee think about this.
Okay.
That's the goal.
How does the sponsorship play in?
Right. So I like to talk about the end product, and let's take a step back, right? Mm-hmm. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that we're giving the audience a reason to tune in. That's what I want. I want the audience to tune in to get our opinion. So we have to make sure that we are doing the research. We have to make sure that when they tune into YouTube, they have like a pleasant experience to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. And from an audio perspective, just want to make sure that the audio quality is really good. So, when you go back, I take a step back from that, sponsors, or at least sponsors that we think would really benefit the audience, they play a part because these sponsors are people who we think are going to help you, right? And as a result, in exchange, they help support the show in ways that we can do the things that we want to do, right? So I don't have to be worried so much about, listen, I have to make this, like we have to turn a profit on the show in order to keep things going or the lights going. Like we don't have to worry about that. So that's where sponsors, particularly sponsors who we jive with, who we vibe with, who we think, you know, we're on the same page with, like that relationship is really important because it's an important relationship for the audience, but it's also an important relationship for us.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I started that way, is to say, like, it starts off with the product and then we work our way backwards.
Yeah.
So.
And we vet these sponsors really well.
I think
so
they get annoyed with us of how much we vet them. Yeah.
Yeah. We vet these sponsors so that we're not having to change the show just for the sake of the sponsors. So I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, we let the sponsors know, like, you know, this is kind of the way how we want the show to go, and we go from there. We've been really happy with the sponsors, their patience, and them dealing with the fact that, you know, we can be a little bit.
A little bit what? What are we?
I don't know if we're difficult, but I think that we're very, like, we're on our up and up. Like, we ask really tough questions. Right?
I mean, yeah. And
we interview the sponsors, right? Like, if it's a staffing company, we just say, hey, you know, what can you do for the listener? If the listener was going to call in and ask for A, B, and C, what can we do, right? Like, for example, like working with St. John's, right? Or St. John, excuse me, right? Like, we have a discussion with them and we say, hey, listen, we have residents that want to come out and they want to discuss something with you guys. They're looking for a job. They're in this position. How can you help them?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. St. John Associates. Yeah. So that's one of our newest sponsors, actually. Yeah. And pretty much when I vetted them, we had a great discussion. And, you know, what's nice is that you learn about these sponsors and what they're really about. And you try to figure out, like, where will they fit on the show. We talk a lot about orthopedics. And, you know, you be getting on the orthos for not knowing how to
orthopedic surgery. Y'all know
potassium. But it's funny because that's what St. John's Associates actually does, is place people in ortho. And I was just like, I wonder how they're going to take to this because...
All right, listen, guys. Guys, it's the truth. Like, guys, look. Orthopedic residents are oftentimes at the top of the class.
Yeah.
Right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
They are at the top of the class. Mm-hmm. Y'all are killing it in med school. You guys are known as the gunners.
Right.
But then you spend the next 5 years, like, getting dumbed down. First of all, the fact that you're intern year, you come with a damn drill that looks like a drill that you can buy at Home Depot. Trying to act like y'all still the smartest. I'm like, that disqualifies everything.
Everything.
Right? Because you're putting people in traction. Because I did trauma at Grady, so I know how it works, right? Like, they bring their drills down, right? And then they drill
They come from Home Depot.
They come from Home Depot. They bring their pen. They drill it into the distal femur, and then they put it into traction and so forth. But, like, guys, I know what's going on, right? Like, you spend the next 5 years, and then the funny thing is, when they're done with residency or whatever fellowship, every patient that gets admitted is on the hospitalist service or the trauma service. And then it's funny because within the trauma service or the hospitals, we argue with each other. It's like, well, why should this patient has an isolated injury? Ortho should take care of them. And ultimately, I'm like, are you sure you really want ortho to take care of this patient? Are you really sure?
Let me tell you something.
Because a lot of times as an attending, like the interns or the second years, third years, they'll be like, why can't ortho just take care of their own patients? I'm like, you guys don't get it.
This is not what they do.
This is not what they do.
Yeah.
Ortho, y'all can take care of the surgery of the patient. And they know it. They'll be very honest with you and tell you this. That's why anybody who's listening to this show who's an orthopedic surgeon, they're like, he got us.
You did get some comments that were like, that's true.
That's true. Every comment that that I made, they know that I'm right. They know I'm right.
The ortho people did.
Because if I'm wrong, then they would be admitting their own patients. Yeah. But they will not admit their patients because they know they ain't trying to take care of that patient.
They just
that patient could be 40 years old with no past medical history. They're like, admit to the trauma or admit to the hospitalist.
Well, let me tell you something. St. John's Associates ain't got no problems with that because they've been placing people for 5 years, 30 years at the same hospital.
So this company focuses on orthopedic surgery.
Yeah, they're very big into orthopedics, and so they place a lot of people into orthopedic surgery. Like I said, they literally have been putting people in the same, or they've been having like the same hospital clients or practice clients for like 30 years. So they ain't got no problems with that. So I think they're good, but they're a recruitment firm, obviously, and they work on contingency. You know how we always are very concerned about, whether or not people are just kind of, taking money from you when you're looking, especially when you're a new resident looking for a job. Like first of all, you don't want your CV all over the place. That's number one. So they're really good with that.
Guys,
they don't put your CV all over the place.
Let's stop. Let's explain that to the people really well.
Yeah.
So when you guys hear that about your CV being all over the place, I'm going to give you my experience. As a first year attending and in locums, I would literally give my CV to a locums company. And there was one company that was literally, without my permission, taking my CV and shopping it around to different hospitals. Yeah. So when I was looking for my own jobs, or when I was applying with other locums companies, they would present me a hospital and say, hey, this hospital I think would be a good fit for you. They pay X, Y, and Z. They would come back and say, hey, we can't present you because they said that you are already presented by locums company A. And I didn't know that. So just so you know, a locums company or a staffing company cannot share your CV unless you give them permission. And some places that are very sneaky, they'll take your CV and they'll shop it around to different hospitals. And the point of that is once they present you, nobody else can present you. Even if they present you and they say no, the hospital says no, or even they present you and you say, yeah, I don't want to go there. Once you're presented, it's a wrap. It's you and that locums company have a relationship, quote unquote, with that hospital because you've already been presented there. So you can't be presented there by another company that maybe want to offer you better rates that may, I don't know, I'm making stuff up now, but let's say all of their locums people or their staffing people, they fly them out and they give them first class tickets. Yeah. Right? You can't go with that new staffing company or locums company because your CV has already been presented by another company.
Or you present yourself, right? Yeah. You see an opportunity, you present yourself, and they're now like, oh, well, you got to buy out. We got to buy out this particular thing, or you can't come here without us. And it can affect your income. So it's great that, St. John, I should say, doesn't shop your CV around like that. And they only get paid if you get a job.
Oh, okay.
Only if you get a job. Cool. So so that's one of our new sponsors. But we've had a lot of sponsors, I think, over the last 3-4 years.
I think close to 4 years now.
Yeah,
I think
to 4 years.
Year two is when we had our first sponsor.
Yeah, is when you had your first sponsor. So, and the sponsorship is growing. So that's been really, really good to see. What's the hardest part about doing the podcast at this point?
I think
working with your wife.
No, that's a pleasure. That's the easiest part. Although you do have your ways of doing things, and then I have my ways of doing things, and we're both very strong characters. Yeah. So, but that's not that.
But I do acquiesce because this is your show, and sometimes, even if I don't agree, I'm like, it's your show. I don't care.
Well, that's fine though. I mean, like if it was vice versa, and if it was your project or so forth, it's ultimately going to be in your vision.
Right. So, yeah.
But I think the hardest part is continuously wanting to recreate and come up with content that people want to listen to. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
Right.
Content
creation. How do you make yourself interesting? Like, as much as like people who've been watching us on YouTube and have been able to see the change in our background, the change in our lighting and what we've been doing from a YouTube standpoint, you can see how bad we started to even where we are, and it's still improving. Or if you listen on the audio experience, and like all of this stuff is a work in progress. Yeah. And ultimately, like how we sound, that's why I haven't really changed the mics. Because I think the technology is only going to take you so far. Like I remember talking, like we're working on this video series that I'm really excited about. We're working on a video series where we have a camera crew that's coming in, they're interviewing you and interviewing me. Mm-hmm. And they said it really great. They're like, 4K, boring in 4K.
It's still boring.
It's still boring.
Right.
So what I mean by that is like if we're recording this and we have the best cameras and we have the best lighting and we have the best microphone and it sounds like a radio, but it's still crap.
Then it's still crap.
Right. So that's why
lipstick on a pig.
That's why I'm just like, it doesn't matter. Like it's just about putting out great. Let's continue to put out content that people want to listen to. So that Jamar writes back, so that Dr. Annie writes back.
MS writes in. Dr. Mavis writes in. Yeah,
so that all these people write in, people who are listening, they write in and they say, hey, he's talking to us. So I think that's the hardest part also is making sure that you're creating content so that they can be like, oh, he's talking to me.
Right.
Because that's what I always wanted. It was a show that says,
he's talking to me.
He's talking to me. And I think that gets lost when you continue to have more and more guests on the show, right? Like, remember I used to say, like, I don't want to have Tony Robbins on the show ever.
Oh, no.
Right? Because
he's like way too 30,000 foot view.
I don't want to have that.
Right. Too far ahead of the audience. Too far ahead of us.
I'm going to pour me some more champagne. You want some more champagne?
No,
you take it easy.
It is like literally 7 a.m, Nee. It's time to celebrate. So, question for you. Now, we talked about, some of your, how you felt about some of the episodes, whether you felt good about them, whether you felt like, this episode wasn't that great. What's your favorite episode?
That's like asking a mom who's her favorite child.
Oh my gosh. Really, Nee?
I wasn't expecting you to ask me that.
What's your favorite episode? Or you can pick like top 5. You have top 5? Let's do top 5. Just like Chris Rock. Top 5. Tide.
I think Dr. Wendy's one of them.
Oh yeah, Dr. Wendy.
Yeah, Dr. Wendy.
Let me tell you about that episode.
The Weird Al Yankovic of medicine. Yeah.
Yo, that episode right there, I remember going to Walmart and I was driving and I was laughing my ass off. Yeah. She was hilarious. You guys had a really
talented.
Great dynamic.
She's really talented.
Yeah, you guys had a really great dynamic on that show.
Dr. Wendy, what's good? Welcome to Docs Outside the Box. How you doing?
Thank you so much, Dr. Nee. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
So we've been trying to make this interview happen for at least over a month.
Yes.
I dared her that she gonna come on and get prompted to do a freestyle. Like this is like Sway. Right? Like Sway Mornings, right? You're going to come on, and since you all about parodying people and all about spitting lyrics, you're going to have to spit some lyrics on this show on Docs Outside the Box.
I'm a doctor and I'm in the city of Chicago. I want to say that I don't know where I'm going to go with this rap. I think that I'm trying to be like somebody, I don't know, Cardi B.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay. When I try to break out my freestyle, I think I just might shed a tear. I don't think that rhymed at all, but it doesn't matter because I'm not going to drop this ball. I think that I'm going
to keep going.
I'm passing the mic. Dr. Nee. Go on. This is the first time. Boom. Come on, take it. Go.
Ignorant people are a waste of time, but yet they commit the crime. They uneducate the people who want to learn. And that one, when my album comes out, I'm going to give y'all the rest, yo. So what'd you think? That was fun, right?
That was good.
That was fun.
Good.
That episode was... Yeah, that was amazing. That was hilarious.
I think that my favorite episodes are the episodes where you can tell that I have a really good vibe.
Yeah.
With the guest.
Yeah.
Those are amazing where you could just feed off. They know when I'm asking a question. They know when I'm being sarcastic. Mm-hmm. They get sarcastic with me. Like, that is great. I love those.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Dr. Dreon Birch, my first episode.
Yeah. What's that? Episode number...
It's like 4.
4? Yeah, I think that's episode number 4.
Because I think if you go back and listen, you can tell how young I was and how, like... Wait, you do what with your life?
Yeah.
Like, you say this with your life? Like, when you... I think you mentioned it to me before this. You were like, yeah, I remember when he said that I love my patients, but I love myself. For me, that was so revolutionary
Right.
at that time.
Yeah.
You know?
You're pretty open on your website about, just the story of how you became interested in medicine, and how this interest came as a child, and you developed this love for medicine. But the thing that I really appreciated about that story was you love your patients, you love medicine, but you were very clear in saying that you also love yourself, and that also prompted the change. Can you tell us how this change, led you to where you are right now? Specifically, even more so, how did you create Doctorpreneurs? Tell us about Doctorpreneurs. Why is it out there? I think we all want to know.
So this is what happened. So, I had this busy job, running around like crazy, right? Well, after a 36-hour shift, I fell asleep. Driving home, and a police officer woke me up the next morning. And it was just like one of those moments, those aha moments where I was like...
Wait, you was on a highway or like on a regular street?
The interstate, yeah. It was like one of those moments where I was like, what am I doing? Like, I'm putting myself at danger. I could have died working these crazy hours. Like, it's not worth it. So, you go to school for 24 years and you're like, is this it? And the answer was no. So that was really when I really woke up and started doing my exit plan, or what I call my freedom plan. My freedom plan. That's when I started what I actually call charting at night. So I was charting at night my freedom plan, my exit plan, to really create my own legacy, really create my own destiny, to be unapologetic about who I was, and to be confident in going out there and getting it.
That's what I'm talking about.
So that was something that was, I liked that conversation. That was really interesting. That helped open my eyes. And then I got coaching from him, actually.
Right.
Also.
You ended up getting coaching from him. And, the podcast was so new at that point.
I remember recording that episode in Wisconsin in an extended stay, right next to, in the kitchen. Right. I just got this microphone. This, as a matter of fact, this microphone that I'm using right now is the microphone that I was using.
Right.
I remember the refrigerator kept going on, off and on. It kept making this noise. And I was like, I hope this doesn't get recorded onto the show.
Right. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. But yeah, no, that was really good because the podcast was so new, and I felt like that particular episode, really kind of opened it up for what Docs Outside the Box was really about. Just doctors kind of living this life that gives them a lifestyle that they want, but also still practicing medicine and being fulfilled by practicing medicine, even though they were doing things that were not necessarily directly related to medicine. I think Dr. Dre definitely brought that home.
Yeah, it's the honesty the open honesty that was striking to me.
Yeah.
The ability to just say, hey, this is how I feel. Mm-hmm. And if, my patients are listening, or if the doctors who I work with,
right,
if anybody in administration who, I contract with happen to be listening, this is my unfiltered thoughts, and you're just going to have to live with it.
Right.
That was something that was very striking to me.
Yeah.
And because up until this point, we're talking about episode 4, my job still didn't even know that I had a podcast that was going on. Right. So for me, it was just like, well, how long can I keep this without them knowing?
Yeah, because you were still employed.
I was still employed. And then after a while, it just came to a point where I was like, well, I don't care.
Yeah.
But I can tell that it started to kind of irk some people, because some people at my job will make certain comments, stupid comments. And you could tell when people are in support of what you're doing versus you can tell when people are trying to clown you by saying certain things.
Right.
They'll say certain things. And that part, if you guys don't know me, I don't really stand for. Like, there's a lot of things that I am very cool with. But when people start making sarcastic jokes, I will dead that conversation in front of people, and I make it as uncomfortable for you as possible, because for me, I've always felt like, when
you ain't gonna make me uncomfortable without you being uncomfortable.
Right, that's my thing. There is no way that you're going to make Dr. Nee Darko uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And you not feel uncomfortable
Makes
yourself.
for very interesting conversations at home. But thank goodness I know you and I love you.
No, but that's what happens in medicine a lot. I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in medicine. And I don't know if it's a positive thing. I don't know if I need to see I don't know if I need to see I don't know if I need to see a therapist about it or something like that. But it's the truth. Like
it's the surgeon's mentality.
I think when I started, like, and this is for people who are listening, who are pre-meds, who are med students, or even people who just know what I'm talking about. Like, I've always felt like a guest in this, right? Mm-hmm. I've always felt like, I don't know if I kind of fit the pedigree that's in medicine. And as a result, like, I kind of would be very compromising.
You don't feel like you're from Harvard.
Right. Sometimes I'll be very...
You have to close your mouth to say Harvard. Harvard.
Well, whatever Ivy League institution that talks like that or whatever, it's not even that. I think that there are people who come from various portions of different medical schools who just, I don't know. Like, yeah. There are people who, I don't know. Either way, I just feel like there are times when I can be very compromising and very like, oh, okay, no problem. But there are times when I'm just like, no, F that. Like, if you are making me feel uncomfortable, I will make you feel very uncomfortable. That might be the surgeon part of me, but I do not like being made uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So when
just
people
so the audience knows, when I told Nee in medical school that he had a surgeon's personality, he made it very uncomfortable for me. But I was right. So, all right, that's number 2. That's number 2. What is another favorite episode?
Carmen Brown was one of my favorite episodes.
Brown.
I hate listening to that from my perspective because I think the question, I was just taking so long to ask a question. You could tell how nervous I was. Yeah. But I think that's my first episode.
Episode number 1.
So just being like, wow, like, yeah, like, first of all, from trying to schedule it, right? Like, I need to schedule at a time that works for her, even though
she was in New Zealand.
She's like 15 hours or however, 13 hours ahead of me. That was interesting.
A day ahead. Jeez.
To, all these different things. That's one of my favorites.
Carmen Brown.
Yes, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Is it morning over there?
It is, actually. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us on the Docs Outside the Box podcast. You are our first guest, first victim,
wonderful.
I guess.
This sounds great.
The inaugural episode of Doctors Outside the Box. So I just wanted to thank you for joining us. I know you are in New Zealand, which is roughly 18 hours away.
Yes, exactly.
And now that you're in New Zealand, it looks like you have more of a balance. And I would even say from an outside looking in, you can tell me if I'm wrong, it seems like you have more emphasis on your family life. Is there any backlash at work with this type of lifestyle? Or is this something that everybody has, everybody feels the same way, everybody makes sure that, their family life is well taken care of and then work kind of comes second? Or is it similar to the United States?
No, it's the latter. It's people here, their whole mindset is different. It's shifted. It's not at all like it is in the United States. I was so used to like hoarding my vacation time in the United States because we only had 3 weeks per year. So you're not going to blow that doing, dumb stuff. So I would like hoard it, and just keep it as long as possible. And my first time when we were here in New Zealand, I got called into my head of department's office after being there for 3 months. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I messed up. These people want me to leave kind of thing. And she sits me down and she says, we're very concerned. You've been here for 3 months and you haven't taken any vacation. And I'm looking at her like, are you kidding me right now?
What? Are you serious?
Yeah, they were like concerned about my well-being.
Wow.
I'm like, are you kidding? So to them, you have a life outside the hospital and you actually are a person and a physician. And I'm a mother and a physician, and so they actually look at that.
Yeah, that was a great episode as well. I had met Carmen. We talked about this really briefly at the top of the episode, but I had met Carmen on Facebook. Mm-hmm. And I had seen something that she posted about being in New Zealand, and you and I did our honeymoon, part of our honeymoon anyway, in New Zealand. And I was like, oh my God, like I need to speak with her because she literally was coming from Atlanta to New Zealand to work and had been there actually for quite some time. And I was like, no, I'm like, I need to speak with you. And so I kind of vetted her first. And I thought, this woman is amazing. And I said to her right away, because we talked via Facebook, and I was like, you need to be my husband's first guest. And she was like, sure. She literally had no problem with it. I was like, I can't believe it was this easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember doing
She was a good sport.
She's the one I did the interview in my parents' house, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We have a picture of that.
Yeah, I did that interview in my parents' house.
I was so excited for you that day.
Please, ma'am, can you tell me what it's like to be a doc outside the box? Being a doc outside the box is like this, man. Shut up. No, it was good.
Yeah, that was good. All right, number four.
Number 4. I have to say probably an episode between us. I don't know.
Yeah. Any episode with us.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the episodes with us. I think they're fun.
Yeah.
Any episode with us, I'll say number 4. Just
Yeah.
say an episode with us. Number 5. Yeesh.
Come on.
I think Dr. K's episode. Pizza,
Dr. K.
Yeah, pizza, beer, and hockey. Pizza,
I think
beer,
so.
and hockey.
I'm your Huckleberry.
Yeah.
Dr. Quadjo from the Solving Healthcare podcast was good.
Yeah.
Welcome to Docs Outside the Box.
Yeah.
Look at you. You excited? That's how I want all my guests to be.
I'm
bro.
hyped. I am hyped. Can I just tell you why? Because you and I have had conversations before, and it was epic. You're gonna be you're gonna be making an appearance on my show as well soon. We recorded that a few months ago.
That's
But
right.
I like it. I like what you're throwing down. You just told me we're gonna have a conversation on the real, okay? And we're gonna act like we're at a pizza parlor, and you're having some grape soda, which I haven't had grape soda since
You haven't had grape soda?
since 1986 or some shit. You know what I mean? You give me a beer or some kind of like sophisticated drink, but I ain't drinking no grape soda. I'm a grown ass man. No offense. I'm grown ass. You know what I mean? One thing I also wanted to say before starting Neo is that the topic of having a real conversation and being like authentic and putting the gloves off and the gowns and the like, we don't do that enough in medicine. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because you lose yourself in medicine. You're always trying to impress. You're always trying to give off the impression like I'm ready to deal with anything in front of me. You don't get to show your true colors because you're always aiming to please. So, you know, one of the things, regardless, I think is to encourage our colleagues is just to be yourself. It's better for your soul. It's better for how you're gonna like your mental health, everything. So I want to commend you. I was thinking maybe emergency medicine, and then I did an elective in intensive care. Walked into Foothills Hospital in Calgary, and I knew immediately this is it. I'm like, this is my Huckleberry, man. When you got these teams,
Huckleberry.
yeah.
What is, so is that a Canadian thing?
Hey, it's from a movie.
I love that episode.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So Dr. K is an internal medicine doctor.
Yeah.
Now he's critical care as well as palliative care in Canada, and he has his own podcast called Solving Healthcare.
Yeah.
And he's really taken off.
Right.
He's doing really great things there. We had an episode together. I didn't like the episode at first. I don't know why. I just didn't
And
like.
it's funny. I remember I was walking because I don't get the sneak preview. I listen to the episodes as they come out, and I remember I was walking our youngest down the street going for a walk, and I'm listening to this episode and I'm like cracking up because he's like, I'm hype. And then he's like making all these movie references and stuff. And he's like, we're going to eat pizza. We're going to
Grape soda.
Grape
beer.
soda. You guys talked about grape soda.
Yeah. That was fun.
Yeah.
Once again, another person who I vibed with, and
that was really good.
Although I didn't understand his Huckleberry.
Yeah, you didn't understand. And tell us where that's from if you guys know.
Yeah.
I'm your Huckleberry. It's one of my favorite Westerns. That's a hint.
Yeah, I'm not into Westerns.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite Westerns.
As a matter of fact, when Westerns came on Channel 5 or Channel 11, I just...
You just turned it off. No, you got to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
No.
I'm telling you, it's hilarious. Blondie! I'm telling you, you have to watch The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
No.
You are going to laugh. I'm telling you, you're going to laugh. It's hilarious. But I will tell you one that you did not mention that I really, really like, because that was your top 5. So I'm going to tell you at least one that I really liked. And that was Tiff the Budgetnista.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah, the fact that she even, we interviewed.
First of all, when she said she was coming on the show, I was like, ah!
Yeah, Tiff the Budgetnista was. Oof.
Well, I'm really glad to have this talk with you. I've been a big fan of yours, as I said before we started recording. I grew up in Irvington, not too far from Newark.
Yeah.
I actually went to high school. I went to St. Benedict's Prep.
Oh, really? Oh, right in Newark. Okay, that's a great high school.
25. Yep, I used to take the 25 down to Martin Luther King.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. And then we used to walk to Penn Station, and then we'd all split up when it was time to go home.
That's awesome. Wow, you're taking it back.
Yeah, we're taking it way back. So
right?
it looks like you go way
next
back
thing you know, you're gonna call Martin Luther King High Street. That's what I know. Like
only the true Newark heads know about that. Yo, you representing Newark really, really well.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting her to say yes.
Yeah.
It was one of those, I'll just shoot it out there and see if she wants to come on and speak about budgeting and all these different things. And they were like, yeah, she'll come on. What?
Yep.
Oh, shit, I got to prepare.
Yeah, because we have been following her since, 2015?
Yeah, for a while.
For those, Periscope days, remember? Long time. And we just saw her,
Remember Periscope?
Yeah, I remember Periscope.
Remember we were so excited. Type something in, see if they'll respond.
Yeah.
And then someone would say something.
Yeah, and people would respond. But yeah, we were following her.
The live stream.
Sandy from Yes I Am Cheap.
Yeah.
What's her name? Letitia Stiles.
Mm-hmm.
We were following all of them. That's where we, met up with His and Her Money.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have been following her for a while, and just to see her, just grow to where she is, New York Times bestseller, amazing. So yeah, she's definitely a heavy hitter. But I really liked her episode because you guys kind of connected on the Newark, New Jersey tip, and y'all were just talking Newark, New Jersey stuff. And I was just I know you like that.
Yeah, she lives in Newark. I went to high school in Newark. Mm-hmm. Newark was a very transformative time for me.
Yeah,
I felt like I grew up through Newark.
Right,
because your first time taking a bus into Newark, just everything. After school, we would just go into New York City and just go hang out and stuff. So Newark has a really is a special place in my heart and stuff. So
yeah. Well, we starting to wind down. So
who says we winding down?
I'm running the show.
You can leave afterwards. I'm still recording. I don't care.
You're gonna be recording for 5 hours.
I don't care. This is a marathon
no 5
session.
hours.
I'll be here by myself. Whoever listens, if y'all want to listen.
First of all, I'm gonna give you a Haitian goodbye. So winding down from a Haitian don't mean nothing. I mean, we probably gonna be here for another 2 hours. All my Haitians.
Let me put my glasses back on so I can see how much time we have.
Okay. All my Haitians. If you know what a Haitian goodbye is, please text us. Text us Haitian goodbye. Just text us Haitian goodbye so we can know that you know what a Haitian goodbye is, okay?
We got a lot of time left on this camera.
We got a lot of time left. So I'm going to give you a Haitian goodbye. So
well, we're going to talk about Optimus Prime.
We are going to talk about Optimus Prime, but that's the wind down. But that's... Why do you keep doing
I'm feeling
this?
tipsy already, so...
Yeah, because you haven't eaten it. It's 7 a.m, Nee. Oh my God! First of all,
they don't necessarily need to know the time.
Yes, they do. First of all, raise your glass again, because we need to pour some out for the homies who ain't here.
Your glass
okay, we need to pour some out for the homies who ain't here. Okay, don't mess with the carpet. Very good. Okay.
Won't you raise your glass on too? Hey.
All right.
Remember that Kanye?
Yes.
Damn.
That was med school right there.
Kanye.
What happened? What happened? Yo.
Let me tell y'all real quick. Kanye, when I first got that first album, and then the second album came out, and when we were doing a sub-I, you were doing your sub-I at Loyola.
Yeah, in Chicago.
I was doing my sub-I at Cook County Trauma. This is 2004? 2005.
Yeah, it's right around Hurricane Katrina.
Late registration came out right after Hurricane Katrina, like a couple of days after Hurricane Katrina. And when I got that late registration and I heard that first song, and I heard them say, nothing ever promised. Oh, anyway, I can't even do it, but it was amazing. And then the third album came out when I was in residency.
Right.
And
and
then he did 808s, and I was like, what's this? What's this? And then he came back with My Beautiful Dark Twisted, and I was like, okay, he's back. And then since then, that was it. He's been gone. He's been lost. But anyway, keep going.
Yeah. So you told the audience about your Optimus Prime investment.
Oh, this whole thing right here?
Yeah. you told your audience about your Optimus Prime investment, and you made a huge deal out of it.
So listen, guys, I spent $750 and I bought this Optimus Prime. So they created this toy or model of Optimus Prime that is a little over a foot long, right? A little bit more than that. And it completely transforms, just like you saw in the cartoon and you envisioned with those stupid toys that didn't do any of that stuff in the 80s and 90s. Well, this one transforms all the way from a car on its own all the way up, and it walks by itself. It fights by itself. You can control it with your cell phone. It's really dope. And I knew at that moment, I was like, wait, this might be a collector's item. So what I did is I used a different email address and I bought another one. So I spent a total of almost $1,600. So I went to eBay. Each one, if you don't open it, each one is selling for at least $1,000. And there are other vendors who are selling it for like $2,000. So boom, just like that, I made a profit. So what do you say?
Do you have the money in your hand?
But
that's what I want to know.
I look at it.
I want to know.
I look at it the same way as a house that has a bunch of equity in it.
Really?
I will eventually sell it. I'm not going to open it. So I'm going to sell it.
You're never going to sell it because your enjoyment is in knowing that the price is going up. So you're actually never going to sell it. So you're actually never going to make that money back.
Hey, listen, it's all about assets over liabilities over here.
Yeah. You told your audience about this Optimus Prime investment, and we argued about whether or not it truly was an investment. We argued about if you were going to open the box or not. What happened?
Yeah, so everyone, I bought this Optimus Prime. It's made by Hasbro. It's a combination of a relationship between Hasbro and Robosen. And it is a robot, like a large replica of Optimus Prime, my childhood, the best cartoon that I used to watch when I was growing up, right next to Thundercats, which is Transformers. And this is, I guess you could say, a life-size model or a close to model of Optimus Prime, completely robotic. Let me see if I can show it on camera. I don't think you guys can see it on camera. Let me bring it here.
So for the record, for those of you who didn't see that episode.
This is right here, guys. This right here is Optimus Prime, and this is completely robotic, and it responds to your voice. And I bought this for $750.
Yeah. So speaking of that, so if you didn't see that episode, I want people to know that you basically originally were not even going to take this out of the shipping box, not even the box that it's packaged in, but the shipping box. You were not going to open it.
No.
Right? And how many did you buy?
I bought two.
You bought two. You bought two. And you bought two for what reason?
Because I was going to sell them. I was going to keep them as collector's items and not open them and just do what normal, people who collect things, keep them in the basement or keep them in a place that is safe. And then in a couple of years, several years later, then sell it for a huge markup.
Yet we are seeing Optimus Prime. What the hell happened?
So basically, I was looking at the prices; they were going up. So I bought it for $750. Now you can't get one for less than $1,000, either on Amazon or wherever it may be. But I was just looking at the videos of people opening it, and they would have their kids around, and I was thinking about it. I was like, man, I'm buying things. It's almost like you save so much money. You're saving money, you're saving money, you're saving money, you're investing, and then when it's time to retire, you get hit by a bus.
Oh, right.
Have you ever heard that? Like
yes.
that anecdote?
Yes.
So it was kind of like, this is something that obviously me and the kids could enjoy. Mm-hmm. And I just didn't want to have something downstairs in the basement, just in a box, hoping for that one day to sell it when I really could just be enjoying it with my kids.
Okay.
So that's when I said, okay, I'll open one. We'll have fun with one. The other one, I ain't opening at all. Nobody's going to touch that one. Mm-hmm. It's still in the UPS box.
Okay.
Because if you go on eBay, there's a markup for if you keep it in a UPS box.
Right.
So I left it in UPS. The tape is this. I ain't even cut the tape. The packaging is on there. Right. So I said, I'll open this one. Me and the kids will have fun, and we will go from there.
Okay.
So
do you want to do a little demo?
Let's show people what it could do.
Okay. Now listen, for
I'm a nerd out on this one.
For the listeners, I'm sorry, you're only going to be able to hear it, so you have to go to YouTube to see this.
See, this is why you should be watching on YouTube and so forth. So.
Exactly. You
All
have
right,
to
let's
go
turn
to
it on.
YouTube to see this. All right, he's turning it on.
Greetings, friend. I am Optimus Prime.
Oh, shit. Every time I hear that. All right, I'm going to put it on the table. I'm going to put the camera down, too.
Yeah, bring the camera down. Let's see. Let's kind of move stuff out of the way.
I hope you put lotion on your feet.
No, I didn't. I'm Ash Ketchum right now. All right. Let's move stuff off the table and move.
Hey, Optimus, we ain't talked to you yet. All right, you're going to have to stay in front of the mic.
Yeah.
It just started transforming on its own.
We will never give up. Never surrender.
Y'all see how dope that is?
Be careful. Put him in the middle.
Hey, Optimus,
Greetings.
move forward.
Let's go.
Hey, Optimus,
Greetings.
move backwards.
Where you going, Optimus?
So, this is Optimus Prime. And me and the kids, well, you can't really hear it that well, so.
Yeah.
Hey, Optimus. Hey, Optimus. Hey, Optimus.
Optimus ain't listening. Hey, Optimus.
Greetings.
Play the guitar.
One shall stand, one shall fall.
What are you doing? Let's do it again. Hey, Optimus.
Greetings.
Play the guitar.
It's gonna fall.
Optimus is not listening.
Move your hand a little up.
Optimus is not listening today. Optimus is like a talking frog. I swear he talks, and then he don't talk. Optimus like a toddler right now. You tell him, "Oh yeah, my baby could do this," and then you tell him to do it, and then Optimus don't do it. What's wrong with you, Optimus?
So that is Optimus Prime, y'all. I'm pretty excited. Hopefully y'all heard this, but it's not perfect, but you know, it's great. It's literally my childhood dream. He rolls out, you can control him with your cell phone, and the kids love him. My oldest, he's 5 years old. He knows how to like drive him. He knows how to transform him. And, you know, every day we're using it and he gets to play around with it. And and I think that what's cool about it is it
The thigh is stuck. Reboot to restore.
Okay, hold on a second.
Optimus is malfunctioning.
Whoa.
Optimus is malfunctioning. I don't know why he's transforming. Here we go.
I am the leader of the Autobots.
There we go. There we go. Optimus, behave yourself.
Just breathe. Breathe on me. Just breathe for the audience. There you go. So yeah, so I love it. I think it's really fun. You know, we get to enjoy something together and maybe teaches the kids a little bit about tech. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's helping our 2-year-old really speak too. So he can tell him what to do. The problem is he tells us what to do. So yeah. So you're pretty excited about this. And the second one, you said you're just going to hold on to it. Do you know how long you're going to hold on to it?
I think I'm going to hold on to it for another year, see how the prices fluctuate, and go from there and make a decision. So.
Okay. Well, that was Optimus Prime. This is your 300th episode. What do you want the people to know? What's the future for Docs Outside the Box? What's in the immediate future for Docs Outside the Box?
So what's in the immediate future is we have a summit that's going to be coming up very soon. Okay. In that summit, we're going to be discussing all things related with Docs Outside the Box. We're going to be featuring I think we might have to turn Optimus Prime off.
Optimus Prime. I think we gave Optimus Prime some champagne.
Yeah. Oh, well. Well, back to the summit. We're going to be showcasing some guests that we've had on the show before and having some new guests who kind of exhibit that Docs Outside the Box lifestyle. And we're going to have some other things in there that's going to make it basically an event that people are going to want to come to. So I'm excited about that. We're going to be doing some live speaking engagements where we talk about, you know, how we got Docs Outside the Box from 0 episodes to where we are right now. But also we're going to be like literally recording on the road.
Right.
So that's what I'm really excited about, is just recording on the road, having an audience. I've always kind of thought about like taking a show on the road and going to different medical schools, different residencies, and just having like an audience while we talk and kind of go back and forth.
Yeah. So if you are out there and you want Docs Outside the Box to come to your place, definitely write into us and be like, hey, how can I be down? So, yeah, let us know if if you're a medical student or a resident, go ahead and do that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, well, congratulations again.
Thank you very much.
And I am looking forward to another 300 episodes.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're going to end it right here.
Yeah, we're going to end it right here, guys. And once again, I just want to thank each and every one of you guys for listening. We appreciate it. And the kids are coming down, so that's why we're ending this also.
Yeah.
But here's to another 300. Let's get it done. Thank you so much. We're going to continue to make the show better, and we'll catch you guys on the next one.
Here they come. Here they come.
All right, y'all.
Yeah, optimistic.
Peace.
You can't see the second one because he's so short. Oh, there he is.
Do not play with some other on the table.